I can't believe I'm making another YouTube video. Where did I go wrong? It is my factual opinion that any work that can get done in a terminal can get done there faster than if you had to use a graphical user interface. I hold another opinion, and this I believe to be a fact, that if you are in a terminal and you're all focused and in the zone working on something, editing some text, as you are getting paid to do, um, you lose a lot of momentum if you have to reach for your mouse to go open up some other GUI program to do something and then go back and then go forth and then go back. I am probably not wrong if I add that you get the greatest amount of utility from any tool you use if it's a command line tool. Because if you're using an operating system based on Unix like Linux, then pretty much everything is a file and you can pipe files together. And so you can focus on a solution, solve it very simply in a command line tool, and then let the operating system and all the other tools expose other features by composing them all together. If you don't believe me, then that's fine actually, because you know you're probably on Windows, and I just pray for your sake that you have 64 gigs of memory. If you're a Vim user, then you already believe me, because it's already in line with your routine for most, if not all, of your work to be done in the terminal. But oftentimes, if you want to support a lot of features, you get the best integration between all those features if they're all implemented in the same app. For example, I actually prefer Postman if I need to make requests that involve authorization tokens, bearer tokens, or environment variables that I might want to reuse over and over. I wouldn't want to do all that in a bash script full of curl commands and trying to interpolate JSON in my curl requests. And so we get to the main point of this video, which is to share an idea that I have and open it up to public scrutiny. I think that you can design a good experience for defining REST requests with a DSL. At the end of the day, I feel very comfortable editing text files. It's what I'm paid to do. So I care about doing it as efficiently as possible. And defining a REST request with text is very easy. So I would edit a text file in a DSL and run it. And of course, having this be a language means that you can implement an LSP to improve your editing speed. They so often wondered if they should, that they never pondered if they could. They could. Well, putting all that cringe aside, let me show you what it can do. Rested. Let's try my favorite feature, which is Scratch, right? Normally you can um, just open up any text file .rd extension, right? So like let's say I did slash .api.d, what is that? I don't know what that is. Um, let's grab JSON placeholder. Yeah, and just do this, right? So I got that, and then I can just rstd run this, right? And by default, it doesn't print out the response in the standard out. I don't know why I made that decision. Probably going to change it. But in any case, my favorite feature, like I said, is Scratch. Instead of having to find a file, name one, find a directory to put it in, manage all that, I'd rather just do that automatically and put it somewhere in my home folder by default in a Scratch directory, which you can configure and change in a CLI. But I can run that and pretty much do the same thing here, but let's say this time I log it, right? And then I can run the scratch file, right? And of course I can, because it prints out, when I put the log attribute, it prints out the response to standard out. I can still pipe it to JQ, and everything else in standard error is ignored, right? So for example, I can, say I can open a scratch file, the same scratch file, but then tell it to execute once I save and quit. All right, so I'll do this. Yeah, this time I say debug because I want to see what the request object looks like, or headers and stuff. All right, and that uh, information, debug quote unquote information, goes to standard error as well. So let's just go ahead and do what you'll probably more commonly do, which is set up. You can see the LSP working. I can set up a base URL. I've already defined this through the CLI to point to JSON placeholder's origin, right? So then I only have to do a path name here, and so that lets me do that command. What if we do want to do a post command as well? I can do to-dos, and I actually forget what the shape of it is. Alright, how about I just copy that over? Yeah. Oop. As you can see, I can just write JSON right in this language. And at any point of these values, I can I can interpolate some strings. Like let's say I did this, and I also did this, right? I put in some values here. Like let's say this is a string of some sort, right? That's a variable. And I can interpolate it. Essentially, I have template string literal, some JavaScript in here. Now, these can be quoted strings, and they cannot. They don't have to be. Either way works. This way you can paste JSON directly like I just did earlier in here, or you can define them like you would in JavaScript. So I can run these, right? Scratch, run, and there you go. Now let's say I want to use a variable that doesn't exist. Let's say I want to use something called BURL. Not defined. The LSP can tell me that, right? Because it runs the interpreter with no ops for the requests, and evaluates all these things to give me all the diagnostics. And so I can tell that, that this is gonna fail when I try to actually run it. Now let's say I go even further and I say that I want an authorization header, and I want to give it a token. And that works. You see the LSP helped me out. But now in this case, I need to set BURL as, I forgot that was in my clipboard. I meant to do this for the BURL. Great. And then I can run this, and it works. Pipe it to JQ, and that works. And I can log these lists to a file as well. It's obvious what happened there, and that's it. Yeah, so I've got let bindings. I've got that set directive for the base URL, and I've got pretty much any request you would care about, right? Put patch delete, and that's it. Okay. Can your curl do that? I didn't mean to bite Zoding there, but can it? That's all I got for now. You can find more information in the README if you care. By the way, I actually don't have anything against you if you use Windows. Some of my best friends are on Windows, so really no prejudice from me there. Do you just have enough memory, is all I'm saying.